Slaptail Squad, assemble.
If you are listening to this, you are a member of the great Slaptail Nation, my nation. And who am I? I'm the Beaveman, master of the universe, creator of all things great and small, and Lord High Commander of the great Slaptail Nation army. And with me today, live in the Beaver Den, with an ass so fine it'll make you want to violate the first commandment, the Padme to my Darth Vader, the Evelyn to my Skeletor, and the Harley Quinn to my ever-so-sane Joker. I give you the heart-shaped ass that is... the Swan. Say hello, Swan.
Hello, Swan.
How are you doing?
I'm feeling a little rushed today.
You feeling a little rushed today?
Rushed all day long. It's been like up here energy level, not by my choice.
Not by your choice. Will that make you slightly manic?
It might.
Are you going to remind me this time to do your episode?
I might. I could do it right now.
What do you call that? What
my
is that called?
Swan's Manic Minute.
No, I mean, what do you call that when you have a segue into a different show, when you're part of your show? Like a segment of the show?
My
it's a
segment of the show.
Your segment of the show. Okay, well, not yet.
The most important minute of the show.
No, probably not.
It might be.
It might be the least important.
Oh, well, in my mind, it's the most important.
Mm-hmm. Also with us today, all the way from Ohio...
We won't hold that against her.
I just realized that we didn't ask her the correct way to pronounce her last name.
Buttrick.
Is it a butt trick?
Yes.
Yes.
And that is it. I'm Mrs. Ass Magic. Yes.
Nice. Okay. Well, also with us today, all the way from Ohio, is Emmy Buttrick. Did your butt turn tricks? Oh, butt trick. Okay.
Just one trick.
Butt trick, yeah.
What's the trick?
Yeah, just butt trick, just the one trick. Yeah. In case comedy goes, bad, then I got the OnlyFans career I can fall back on.
Nice. Now, how many tricks can your butt perform? Is just
one.
Oh.
Just the one.
Just one? You might have to, expand that a little bit.
Her butt or the tricks?
So far, taken on the road. It's gone okay. Just the one. It's getting enough crowds.
Now, you call yourself the succubus of satire, correct?
Yes, I do.
Two questions. What is the definition of a succubus to you? That's the first question.
Well, succubus to me, it's a way of, I have a rare illness. I tell people it's kind of like, I'm like if Blade had a ginger baby sister. I have to take blood products every 4 weeks, and this is going to be me for the rest of my life. I've been doing this since 2010. And because of that way of making it just like an embracing thing of, instead of feeling like a human tick, because everyone's like, oh, it's like vampire. Oh, it's sexy. Oh, no, you kind of feel like a tick most of the time, in all honesty. So I'm like, is this a way of making it fun and, kind of poking fun at chronic illness? I'm the succubus, okay? You're not going to take away, just the absurdity of life, instead of just being I'm a patient with autoimmune condition. It's like, oh no, I'm the succubus of satire. That's how it's going to be for me. Just kind of a way of owning it myself. And of course, succubus means different things throughout history. It's meant female vampire. It's meant vampire that exclusively feeds off the semen of men. It's meant all kinds of things throughout history. For me, it's just, my fun way of trying to make a dark topic approachable.
Now, Swan.
Yes.
When you hear the word succubus, what do you think?
I don't necessarily think.
Or no.
Or no. No. Well, I mean, I had to Google it, so I came up with the same kind of concept of her. I'm like, I know that word, but yeah.
Probably a more important question for you than Swan is, what do you think I think when I hear the word succubus?
You definitely think alien porn.
Wrong. So close, Swan. So close, but not alien porn.
No?
No, vampire porn.
Oh, vampire. Okay, well, I was thinking like tentacles and alien.
Tentacles?
Like the things that come out of like the heads of like the Star Wars kind of characters. That's what I was thinking of. Like with those big weird head things. Yeah.
Are you talking about Twi'leks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's not okay, anyway.
Anyway.
All right. And then part two of that question is, what is satire?
Satire is comedy at large. Satire is pretty much the tearing down of power through mirth and wit and wisdom. Satire is the ability to take a serious topic and ridicule it.
Damn. She just fired that right off.
Well, she had to research her name. Jeez. If she's
Well,
going to call
Who
herself
knows
that.
Nobody's going to ask. Nobody's going to ask. It just.
Well, how would you can't call yourself that without like knowing what it means.
I only asked because clearly
You'd be
I don't know what
surprised.
comedy is.
Well, true.
That's why I asked. Now, very fascinating. So is there ever a time when you're not doing something? You seem to be very busy.
Yeah, there are times that I'm not doing something. I'm not on the road every single weekend, though I try to be, and that's just been just luck of stroke. When people say a stroke of luck, when people say, "Hey, you're just one gig away from being in front of the right booker and getting," and that's what happened. It literally was last May. I just got the right room. There were several bookers in the room. It was crowded. I had an amazing set. And then I just kept getting booked. And that was just it. And I've thankfully been on a streak for a while. I'm subsequently moving and will be on the road a little bit less as I move cross country. But I love it. It's just something I absolutely adore. If I could, I would be on the road every single weekend, 2 shows a night. I love making people laugh. There's some kind of sickness in me. I just love being a court gesture.
Now, so when you're moving across the country, which way are you going?
West.
So you're
Going
moving
out
west.
west.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, you could just set yourself on fire right now and you'd be close enough.
I know, but with the autoimmune thing, I actually feel significantly better out west under different barometric pressure and everything. In all honesty, when I'm in Ohio, it kind of feels like I'm wearing a chain of chainmail all the time. When I go out west to do gigs in Las Vegas, Arizona, LA, I feel significantly better. So it's just become a quality of life thing.
I think that's just
And
Ohio.
the markets there for comedy are, yeah, it's just Ohio. I think I just need out of Ohio. It's
just Ohio.
Love it as I do.
That's how Michigan feels about it. Like, yeah, it's just
Exactly.
Ohio.
Well, you hear that, Michigan? If you want to see her, come and see her now. She'll be at our show.
Yeah. Otherwise, you got to go out west.
Yes, please.
Until she comes back through again.
Yeah, before I head out west.
Now, so your husband is also, I'm assuming, going with you out west.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Okay. And
So,
married 19 years, so we're kind of a part of a package deal.
oh, well, we've been married 19 years too, and if he moved out west, I wouldn't go. Just saying. I'd let him go.
Okay. Well, thank you, Swan.
No problem.
I'll keep that in mind.
That's like that thing, if you love something, let it go.
It won't come back to you.
Oh.
Trust me, it won't come back to you.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I hope that your relationship with your husband is as strong as ours is.
Feel the love.
You feel the love. Now, what I find also very cool is you do very tasteful pinup stuff, very pretty stuff. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Oh, thank you.
How long have you been doing that?
I have been doing pinup now since, 2010, right around there. It's an art form I've always loved, and I've got to credit my grandmother and my mother with it because I had terrible self-esteem. The whole succubus thing goes a little deeper. I know they won't be able to see this because it's a audio only. I'm ghastly pale. I'm a natural redhead, and in my era, I'm Gen X. That was not cool. That was not chic. I even have a T-shirt that says "redhead" before it was cool. I was tortured, mercilessly tortured. I didn't even get senior pictures done of myself. Quite literally, I didn't. There's no evidence of my senior of high school. Didn't do that. I thought I was homely. And my grandmother was like, "You're not ugly. You just don't look like this era. You look like the 1940s, 50s, that kind of pinup look." Well, of course, as a teenager, you ignore them. I got older and I was getting just professional headshots just for my standard everyday job. And the photographer's like, "Have you ever thought of doing pinup or ever old-fashioned type modeling?" I was like, "Oh, complete." I was like, "I would break your camera." She goes, "No, there's something to this. You've got to look." And I looked at the photos, and where I have such bad body dysmorphia from being teased, I didn't even realize, I don't even know I look like that until I see the photos. Because when I look at the photos, I'm like, oh, wow, that's me. Because I don't see that when I look in the mirror at all. I see all the flaws and everything else.
Sure.
I don't see that done image at all. So it was just kind of I don't know, even a way like at this time of my life, kind of sticking it to the bullies, being like, you know what?
Yeah.
You thought I was ugly? Well, now I'm a cover model, the cover model of the largest pinup magazine in publication.
And where are they? Ugly now. All those people who called you ugly back then, they're now bald, fat, ugly, and old looking, where you're not. So, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was, I mean, it was to the point, like, I would change classes, and there were certain boys within our football team that literally would bark at me in between classes in the hallway and would just bark every time I was around.
They were gay.
So some people didn't even know my name. I was just dog girl.
Dang. Yeah, that's interesting that you say that, though, because when I was growing up as a Gen Xer, around the time I would say probably, was it 12, 11, 12? All the guys really liked redheads because Red Sonja came out.
I think at your school.
Red Sonja came out. Beastmaster came out. All those types of movies had redheads. And so...
Yeah, but normally they were evil.
Also good?
Redheads are normally evil. Yeah, they look good, but they're normally evil or bad or something like that. It's like redheads, it's like normally we're either like Chucky or like Chucky or Little Orphan Annie, and then they skip us. They don't come back to us again until like we're, of the doable age, 18 to 30, they come back, and then we're normally portrayed as like, demonic, a vampire, a witch, something like that. Something normally menacing or evil.
Also
but
good.
Because of that,
we're... thing.
Yeah, well, I think so, but I grew up in a very small, literally, Ohio River village where you couldn't even wear all black and go to high school. So to look, pale and goth and be unusual, not a good thing. Well, not fun.
Yeah, I also did not have a wonderful high school experience. So I
think all comedians have to go through that.
I prefer not to. I like the ones who don't go through it and they're like very well adjusted. You're like, look, this person's very well adjusted. They're very few and far between, but there's occasionally someone who, likes their parents. My son does stand up occasionally. He's like, well, I can't really do anything where I make fun of my dad because we get along really well. So that's not going to work.
Oh. Yeah. It's an occupational hazard if you have good parents. You two screwed up. If you wanted a good comedian, you should have just messed the kids up really well and just like been like, we're going to make a gaffigan out of you, okay? We're going to write you all the way to the bank.
His biological screwed up, so he can use her. The Swan is his stepmom, so not too much there. All he can say about her is that she swears insanely a lot, so that's all he can probably say.
It's true.
It's true.
He learned all the best swear words from me.
That is true. It is true.
I was going to say that's just a bonus though if you do comedy.
It's interesting that you didn't slap the person who said, "Have you ever thought of doing pinup?" I would have got slapped if I said that to somebody. I'm like, "Say, have you ever thought about doing pinup?"
Well,
it probably helped the fact that it was a female. That probably did have something to do with it because I took her a little bit more seriously and I knew that she wasn't like flirting or being pervy. At least I don't think she was flirting or being pervy. Maybe I missed out on an opportunity there.
Something to think about. Something to think about.
Yeah. Darn it.
Missed a golden opportunity. Now, so let me ask, go back to your husband. Is your husband the kept man then? He can just pop up and go with you across west?
Yeah, most of the time he works remotely. He works in IT, and most his work can be done most of the time remotely. And the technology center for his career actually is out west, so we can pretty much live wherever we want to within the United States, but we travel pretty freely. He's got to be in the office about 2 days a week, but it's a global corporation, so the offices are pretty much any major city. And as long as he makes an appearance twice a week and he does his work, we're good to go and can set sail to wherever we want to be, wherever the next gig is.
Nice. So he does IT for the Vatican then.
Yes.
So there's
He works for, it's a major financial institution, and most people hate banks. That's why we just say a major financial institution.
Right.
Because otherwise you just get a lot of hate. Yeah, he doesn't do anything that with the actual banking part of it. He secures and makes sure all of our transactions that we go through the cloud are secure. So he's the one that's writing the code and everything behind that. He's the geek squad behind the banks.
Oh.
So, yeah, he works for a large financial institution.
So he could take it all down if he really wanted to. From the inside.
Joke is like he can never do that because of our last name, because people think it's some clever stage name. That is literally my legally married last name is Buttrick.
Okay.
So he's like, if I ever live a life of crime, you're never going to know. I'm going to have to legally change my name because I'm not going to prison with this last name.
Yeah.
You got to be kind of a square and a straight and narrow with the last name Buttrick, because trust us, anywhere we go, security, TSA, you get attention because they can't believe it.
Oh, we feel you on that one.
I would definitely just call him Butt Rick.
Butt Rick.
In jail. He'd be like, get over here, Butt Rick. Your name is now Butt Rick.
The one that most people try to do to be polite is they try to change it to the pattern company, Buttrick.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they'll add an E in there that's not in there. They're like, Buttrick? And we're like, no, it's just Buttrick. We're the Ass Magic family, thanks.
Nice. You know how fun it would have been if he was in my first platoon with me and Cox? So Beavers, Cox, and Buttrick.
Oh, wow, yeah.
That would have been fun.
Then you could have added in my
my husband's a veteran. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, my when I got married, I worked as I'm a nurse, and we used to put our last names on the board, and it was Beavers, Little, and Woody. We're like other two coworkers, and I'm like, that's not even funny. It's funny, but it's funny. Go ahead. Sorry.
Now, for the listeners, to make it interesting, Swan, what exactly are you saying?
Beavers, Little, Woody.
Yes, that's what was on the board. Was Beavers, Little, Woody.
Yeah.
Woody.
Yes.
Beavers, Little Woody. Yep. The odds of that. And my husband is a veteran as well, so he went through the military with that last name. And yeah.
That's fun times.
Basic, the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, my last name is Beavers, so I went through it too. So, but most people thought my last name was pretty cool. Like, your name's pretty cool, actually. Like,
yeah, I gotta say Beavers is better, especially as a male, than Buttrick. I even do I go into it and doing stand up, of course, because it is the elephant in the room that has to be addressed. Because almost everyone thinks that it's a stage name, and then when I let them know that it's actually my legal name, and just the shock and horror. Even my own mom, when I told my mom I was engaged, and she's like, he's just a fine young man. Are you going to take his last name? I'm like, yes, Mom, I'm going to take his last name. Are you sure about that?
It's a good family name.
She's like, well, it don't matter. You don't want kids. It'll be okay.
I always got to think of the grandchildren. Think about how much they would be tortured. What? Come on.
It's fine. You're only going to have dogs. It's fine.
Now, do all the dogs do they take his name also, or did you guys spare them of that?
Yeah, that's actually his only rule. He's like, you can name the dogs whatever you want, but they get my last name because something does, damn it.
Our dogs have their last name?
Yes.
We did.
Samantha Butterbear Beavers. Yes.
Okay, that's what it is. Well, she has a very long name. It's a bunch of other stuff in there. Speaking of not having kids, now how often do you have to deal with people asking you why you don't have children?
At least it's not as much now, but at least on a weekly basis, because as where I travel and such, people are like, no kids, what? It's getting a little bit less, but yeah, about once a week, someone asks, why don't you have kids? Or I'm so shocked. I just never felt that. I'm a repeat offender when it comes to marriage. I was a stepmother really young, and I guess, that just learned me quick.
You're like, fuck that kid.
No, I was a stepmother. Yeah, no. I never felt that. I think that most people, they just know. It's like you want to be a parent, and I just never have felt that. And And I don't dislike children. I think kids are great, especially with little mustard and paprika. But
Right.
I love kids, but I'm in the Rent-A-Kid program. My husband, when I got married, I got 17 nieces and nephews.
Wow.
They made me a great aunt at 26 years old.
Holy shit.
So there was no real issue with like, oh, shucks, I think I'd like to go and, have a kid for a weekend or go see a kid's movie. Anytime I want a kid, all I got to do is go pick up a kid. Trust me.
That's a
all I got to do
soundbite.
is call one of my sister-in-laws. Yeah, all I need is go to pick up a kid. No problem.
Anytime I want to pick up a kid, not a problem.
It's easier when you don't have children because then yours aren't over there looking scared and alarmed. They don't clip them off to something like, oh no, the trunk. No, I'm able to just to be a doting aunt, and I really like that. I like the fact that I can just pick them up, spoil them, have one-on-one time with them, grab them for a weekend, and they get to be with their eccentric aunt, and then go and be with mom and dad. And the cool thing is I end up being mom and dad's ally because it's like anything, especially during the awkward teenage years, I seem to be called on the most because that's when mom and dad know nothing. And then as the aunt that didn't have kids, you're cool somehow. And they listen to you more and they don't think you have as much of an agenda. And, the same thing is, it's like you're advocating for the parents as well, but somehow because you aren't a parent, you're somehow cooler or know more than their parents do. And I like that relationship and the fact that sometimes when, my sister-in-law is kind of, butting heads with my niece or something like that, she can call me in and it's like, okay, Aunt Emmy's got it. I can tap this one. I got it, Mom. Let's talk it out. Let's go to Kay's Jewelers.
Nice.
Let's get some iced coffee. It'll be okay.
Have you already picked out your niece or nephew that's going to take care of you when you're old and debilitated? Like that's going to let you live there as the crazy
Absolutely.
aunt?
Yes. And the one the one I think will be most likely to get me really good Kentucky bourbon in the nursing home. Yes. Yeah. I have an heir and a spare, actually. I have a nephew, a great nephew that I think will do really well, both of those.
I think that's important to have. I don't have that. So I'm afraid that if something was to bad happen,
you got to have that.
You can live with us, Uncle. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. Just leave me outside in the woods. I'll be fine. I don't want to live with you. I'm afraid they'd drag me to church like every 5 seconds. And yeah, good. I don't want to do that.
Luckily, I come from a long line of heathens. That'll never happen. I won't have to be dragged to church every 5 seconds.
Yeah, I just wondered because I know people like when they don't have children, everybody's always like, oh, how can you not have kids? Oh, you'd be such a great dad. Oh, you'd be such a great mom. Like, well, that may be, but I didn't want them, so there.
Well, I have a couple friends that don't have children, and they come up with like answers that are sarcastic because they're tired of hearing those questions. So,
like what?
Like just either the ones that make you like ashamed that you asked that question, like I don't have a uterus and my husband had testicle cancer, like, and it's totally not true, but like, and you're like, and we've tried to adopt and we can't, and so like make you feel like shit for answering that question.
I would just say I'm a man. If I was a woman, I'd be like, I was born a man,
and you couldn't even tell. Yeah.
I feel like that would work.
Just be like, make up. And I think that's completely fine with what your friends saying, like, it's testicular cancer and I have no womb and things like that. If people are asking you, perfect strangers are asking extraordinarily personal questions about your reproductive health, you have every single right to just make up whatever thing you want to amuse yourself. Like, if it wasn't for the charges with the CPS and the other babies, something like that, whatever you need to do, because people do get, like, I've actually had someone before say, oh, is it because your husband doesn't want to have redheaded children? I had someone send it to me. And I was like, excuse me? He was like, well, I know a lot of men don't want to have redheaded babies. I'm like, well, if that was the case, well, I sure as hell wouldn't have married him. But no, I can assure you that's not a conversation we had. Like, I love you, but I don't want to pass your terrible ginger spawn into the world, honey. You got to keep those legs closed. I mean... Like, you gotta keep that firm crotch evil to yourself, woman. Like, exactly. No, that wasn't a conversation we had.
Yeah. This genetic code ends now.
Yeah. This mutant shall not rise again.
You're like, no, I'm not going to have kids because I'm going to leave all the inheritance to the cult that I belong to. Like, just random dumb answers if you really start.
Right.
It would be
The
great.
pumpkin god would be angered if I have children.
My uterus is dead. Dead.
As black as my heart.
I wanted to have children, but I'm not supposed to be within 50 feet of a child.
That's bad.
Ever since I couldn't drop it off at the school no more since the charges and whatnot. And so people do ask, thankfully, as I get older, that is happening less. But being that I am so ghastly pale, I'm aging well. So I think a couple more years maybe of that. And I think at this point, I think I'm just going to be, it interferes with the OnlyFans career. So I just, I don't like them in the background.
Yeah. It is always distracting when some child pops in there. Shouldn't happen. It really shouldn't happen.
Mood killer.
Lock those kids up.
Put them in their cages. Jeez.
Yeah. Oh. I had a question I was going to ask and I forgot already. Oh, what do you consider your comedy influences? Do you have any?
Oh, so many. I'm a comedy nerd. Where I've been blessed with extraordinarily unusual health my whole life. I've spent a lot of time hospitals, sick. So what I've done to pass time was to listen to comedy. When I was raised right, I quite literally saved up my money to see George Carlin.
Ooh.
And my parents knew where I was going because they dropped me off. I was not of the legal age to drive. Saved up my allowance money when I was 14 to see George Carlin for the very first time at the Paramount Arts Theater in Ashland, Kentucky. Thank goodness that man thoroughly believed in playing small communities in small towns, or I would have never seen him. I got to see him twice by the time I was 17. So George Carlin's a huge influence. Even though I think most people would be shocked by that because I am known for doing mostly clean comedy, what I remember George for mostly isn't his 7 words that you can't say on television. It's for his breaking down of the English language, his studying of it, the whole, just his bit that he does on the English language and, boarding an airplane, pre-board, how do you get on before you get on, and all this other stuff, and how he just breaks things down and studies everyday life in a way that just was never done before. I love Carlin in that respect. Then being from Ohio, being a female, I absolutely love Phyllis Diller.
Oh, yeah.
I think she's one of the ones in history that somehow has been forgotten by this modern generation. She's from Lima, Ohio. She was a housewife that was supposed to have been nothing. She didn't come from wealth or anything. And even she, to her credit, she's like, I'm not vaudeville and there was Mom's Mabel before me, but she's given the title of the first professional female stand-up. And to have that in our backyard as our history, that, just little Lima, Ohio is the birthplace of the first considered female professional stand-up. And I love her. I love Rita Rudner. Actually, when I first started doing stand-up, the very first open mic I went to, I got to see someone have something terrible happen to them that I didn't even know I needed to fear. They get up there, the mic has a cord, they fall flat on their face, they tripped on the cord.
Ooh, yeah.
And I was thinking, oh crap, that's not even that. I just didn't want to forget everything. I didn't think that, don't go up there and fall flat on your face on the mic cord. Well, I'm almost always in a dress. The pinup thing is true to who I am. I've worn dresses now every day for like 15 years. I just find them way more comfortable.
Me too.
And well, yeah, I mean, they look great on you too. I love your ankles right now. They look, I know the viewers and listeners can't see it, but they look amazing.
Thank you.
But and so she was always in a dress, and I always noticed when I was watching Rita Rudner, she always held the mic up and away from her. And just little stuff like that. So everything from George Carlin, from Phyllis Diller to Rita Rudner, modern influences, definitely Natasha Leggero, Whitney Cummings. Yeah, I constantly try to absorb comedy while also keeping a unique voice.
Yeah. I think that part of it is difficult is like you really want to watch, like I love watching comedy, but now I'm scared to watch comedy because I'm like, what if something accidentally pops into my head, and then I write it, and I'm like, oh, why did this come to me so easily? But that's one of the things I do also to myself is if something comes to me super easy, I'm like, I have to have heard that before. And then I'll check, like, do some like limited search. Like, did somebody say something like this? Not that I expect to be seen by anybody big, but that always bothers me because we see so many comedians. We just constantly go to shows to try to find people. And then I'll be like, heard it, or, just constantly or the same premise over and over again. And so that's why I get a little scared watching comedy, except I really want to watch comedy. But there's also the point
I'm always
parallel thinking is a possibility too, but
I'm afraid of parallel thinking, and at the same time, it's almost a little satisfying because it's if you are thinking something and then you hear it, you're like, oh, at least I know, at least I think like the greats. Because you're like, well, at least, I came up with that idea. So maybe, in a year or two, something like that will become natural to me or something. Because there have been those instances where I'm like, oh, okay, that material is out there. I must have been influenced. I got to immediately cut that from my set. That's not me. But there's that little bit of satisfaction, like, but hey, that means I kind of think like I might be knowing what I'm doing here. Yeah. So we ended up with kind of the same idea.
Well, it sounds like you already know what you're doing.
I try to take it like that.
Sounds like you already know what you're doing. You're getting booked pretty well already. I was actually surprised you took our show. I was like, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was super excited. He's like, she said yes.
Gosh, yes. I'm so excited to do your show. And in all honesty, I'm completely doing this on my own, totally clueless. I just go do shows. I was encouraged when I was in LA just by the fluke, the owner of the Comedy Chateau, Felix, who is amazing. He liked my set that I was there for a produced show. And he's like, you need to come audition. And I went and auditioned, and it went so well. They literally pulled me out of the room before the rest of the people were done auditioning. They're like, let's go ahead. Let's get you booked. And now I'm a rotational performer at the Comedy Chateau.
That's awesome.
Sitting here saying that, and I'm leaving tomorrow to go perform in LA. I'm on Saturday night. Saying that, I would have never thought that possible, and because it just happened in October. It's that fast. I mean, I was like, and I'm still a nobody. I'm still like the D- of the D list, but it does happen that fast. But for one person. So when people are like, oh, going to mics and going to auditions, oh, they're stupid. Literally, one can make or break you if you do the right audition.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, that's you got to get that rep in anyway. You got to do it.
Yeah.
My new thing now is I'm like, well, this year I think I'm going to try to do competitions. I'm going to try to apply for competitions because most people hate my comedy. So I figure at least if I go do competitions, then at least I'll get in front of some people that might not hate it as much.
You just have to find your crowd.
Still got to find my crowd.
I like competitions. I did the Clean Comedy Challenge last year. I really liked it because it's an intensive. It's 3 days. So they really get to see you. Maybe if you didn't have your greatest set, it's not going to be okay, all or nothing. It's more forgiving to where you go on audition at the Comedy Chateau or at the store, at the cellar, you better be on. You're not going to get, routine sets. Where the Clean Comedy Challenge, you have 3 days. You get to make your mark. You can do your same material each night if you want to. You can change it up every single night to where they hear something different from you, to where the judges get to, get more of a sampling of your material. The great thing about competitions are the judging panel. I think they're only as good as their judging panel. For the Clean Comedy Challenge, I loved it because you got people that worked on The Tonight Show, people that worked on Roseanne's Bar Show, people that can actually give you feedback. Because a lot of the local competitions, you pretty much got Joe Blow who runs the open mic that nobody can really stand anyway, and he's going to tell you whether or not you're funny.
Yeah. Or you have people who
to
don't
where
do comedy
you have somebody
at all.
that's an industry insider. Right. To where you have someone that's an industry insider that worked on the Tonight Show for 7 years and, worked on Frasier for 2 of them as the lead writer that can say, hey, this is good. You need to work on your production, work on your posture and stuff. When you talk, you're talking down to the crowd. Remember, you're talking to an audience. Get it up. Make sure your face is up and looking out to the crowd. Stuff that, unless you're talking to a pro, they wouldn't even know to look for. Because that was something until I did the challenge, I never even thought of, when you're doing, because I do, especially now in this era, everybody wants audience interaction. So I have a couple of audience interaction bits in my set. And when I was doing my audience interaction bits, I wasn't realizing I wasn't coming back up all the way to my full height. I was just sitting there and I was still talking to that person. And we were having a good rapport and everything. It looked fine, but I didn't realize I'm not talking to the rest of the theater for the rest of that set.
Oh.
But a pro, someone that worked was like, okay, once you do that, you need to break away and then regain and reassess yourself and then present yourself back against the rest of the audience. Things that you don't even think about showmanship wise, that the pros are watching you, to where it makes you even better the next competition, because it's like, okay, now I know it's not just be on time, be ready, be professional, be funny. It's also project, have good posture, have good eyesight, have good, have a presence on stage. It's not just, hey, did you show up? Were you funny? There is a way more to it than just the one thing. And I learned so much from that. So if you can do a multi-day competition, I think you get more out of it than I think a lot of the single days. It's almost like you're just living test anxiety, because you're like, oh, is it going to go good? And I'm on just this one set and it's this one set only. And then if you bomb, that's it, that's over. And you think you suck for the rest of the year.
Right.
So where if you have 2 or 3 days, it's like, okay, I did it. That wasn't my greatest. And the next night you go and you kill. And then the judges get to see that, like, oh, wow, he came back or she came back. And then the next night you go and have a great set. It gives them more of a barometer of who you really are as a performer, rather than like 3 minutes or less and then go, kid. A lot of people aren't good for that. And a lot of people's act doesn't translate. Mine does. I'm clean and I can do really fast. But a lot of people, they're not even funny until they get to like the 5-minute mark.
Yeah. I think so. I think that if you're like one of those people that builds your kind of joke, if it takes like like 45 seconds to build your joke and you're averaging a joke a minute, or if they play off of each other, it can be very difficult. I just did my most, I think this is my first actual 3-minute set that I did. And I was like, man, I don't know if I can do a 3-minute set. I'm like, usually you got to really pay attention to my jokes for, I don't know if you can get 3 minutes, but I did it. It went good, but I was like, oh, okay, I can't do a 3-minute set, but it was not super easy.
It's difficult. Like when I perform in Las Vegas and New York, when I'm doing open mics, if it's not a show I'm booked on, because even doing book shows, I go to the city and do open mics. They're only 3 minutes in New York and Las Vegas. They don't give you more than that. If you're funny, I was actually at a clean comedy mic in Vegas, hosted by Mistress K, who was wonderful. I was doing really well. Because I did really well and she knew I had material, she let me go long, because I knew, I was like, wait a minute, I've gone way beyond 3 minutes. I know how long the set is. And she happened to look up and give me a line. And she goes, I'm so sorry. I was enjoying your set. And I was like, oh, no, that was great. I was just thinking, I was like, I know I'm going long here. She goes, no, you did really well. She said, typically we just do 3 minutes only because that's all we can stand. And I actually was out with a friend and such, and he was used to doing 5-minute long sets. When he got up there, he had no idea. He's like, 3 minutes? I have no idea how to be fast. I'm a sit up punch type person. I go up there and I'm intentionally trying to get you to laugh every 30 seconds. So for someone like myself, I'm almost like, a shark with chum in the water. I love it if you tell me I only got 3 to 5 minutes. That's almost like because I'm just going to have you laughing that whole time. Where you're storytellers, it's a nightmare. And I've seen that look of panic and shock on the face. I'm like, it's okay. You're a storyteller and that's completely legitimate, because that's some of my favorite comedians. Like Ron White is probably my favorite living comedian right now. Total storyteller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think, what's his name? Mike Birbiglia. I don't know that he actually tells jokes. Like, it's just all stories, but you're just like, wow, you're just listening to his story. And you chuckle through it and you have big laughs, but I don't think he tells ever actually tells like jokes.
No, and I was able to see him live. He's one of my husband's favorite comedians. We went to see him on the tour that he talks about meeting his wife and falling in love. So good. But you're just kind of, you're transfixed with him. He's just such a good orator, and he's able to, I don't know, in almost like a sheepdog way, command the room to where it's like you're just part of that psyche and what he's telling like whatever little nuance he's going on. He's masterful.
Yeah.
He's totally different than like a Ron White type or something, but he's masterful to behold because he's not someone that comes out and like shocks you with stage presence or anything like that. He's kind of like your nerdy best friend cousin kind of feel, but yet you're hanging out every word he says when he's on stage. And he paints these great pictures and such. One of the best storytellers of our time, Verbicula, definitely.
Yeah. He was on, I just happened to catch a little clip of, I guess it was his podcast. I don't know if he does it with Pete Holmes or if they're like really good buddies or something, but he was talking about his comedy and Pete Holmes was like, you don't do comedy. You tell stories and you say this a lot. And that was bad or whatever. I was like, well, that's true. He does, but he's very good at it. And that was wrong. And that was bad.
He's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong. That's just how he does it. I mean, it's funny. I enjoy listening to him. I think he's very funny.
I love Verbicula. And kind of before him in our generation, not known even for being comedic, but he's a masterful storyteller. Henry Rollins. Henry Rollins is extraordinarily funny spoken word storyteller. I've gone to see him a couple of times live, and I can't believe how much I laugh. See, he has such dry, acerbic senses of humor and takes on life. I really like his spoken word.
Now, have you ever thought about doing a one-person show? Because I'm assuming you write a lot.
Yeah, I write every day like a crazy person locked up in a cage writing a manifesto. Writing is actually my favorite part of the whole process. I write every day without fail, and then I also do a word of the day challenge in a writing group that I do, where every day at 10 a.m. we're just given one random word, and you're given 10 minutes to write 10 jokes off of one word.
Damn.
And I love that. I actually won day before yesterday. The word was seal.
I saw that
so
joke.
I said, I did it. Oh, that one,
That's a good joke.
That one's cheekier. Yeah, it's cheekier. It's on the line. It's one of the ones that's in the I'm the beholder of whether or not this is clean, because the word was seal. So I said, I dated a Navy SEAL. He was an expert at getting me wet.
Scandalous.
Something like that.
Absolutely
yeah,
scandalous.
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 And that's actually my little like niche of humor. I like that, to where things that can be, I like saying something naughty. I call it kind of Disney humor. If your kids are in the room and they're under 13, odds are they're not going to know what I said. But if they're 13 and up, yeah, they might be nudge, nudge, wink, wink on it. But most of the time, the adults know what I'm saying. The kids have no clue. Kids have no clue what I'm saying, because I just try to say something that's naughty and raunchy and elaborate, loquacious way. That's all I do. I just use big words, and the kids aren't, huh? And the adults are like, oh, no.
I'd be like, oh, no, I don't know what loquacious means. Somebody tell me what loquacious means.
Talkative.
Well, Swan, are you ready?
I can be.
Are you ready for your?
Sure.
Is this going to be off the wall crazy?
I don't know. Hopefully.
Are you just going to swear a bunch?
I'm going to try not to, but there will probably be some swear words in there.
You don't have to rein it in or anything.
I won't rein it in. I'm just going to let it go.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, this is the part of the show where we all have to join in Swan psychosis or her mania. This is what we call the Swan's Manic Minute.
Mercy on your soul.
I have a lot of insomnia lately, so during my insomnia, I think of random things, and it's stupid because then I can't turn my brain off, which makes insomnia worse, and it only makes me feed on it. So, like last night, I was sleeping, or trying to sleep, and I went to bed at 10 o'clock, but laying there, Then I'm thinking, oh my God, my legs hurt. I can't move. My hip hurts. My body hurts. I can't move. Where does my tongue go in my mouth? And then I got on that for about 10 minutes. And I was literally thinking, like, do you relax your tongue? Do you put your tongue on the top of your mouth? Do you put it on the roof of your mouth? Does it touch your bottom teeth? If you bite on it, then that's bad. So I literally had a 10-minute version of insomnia where I couldn't. And then I got myself more anxious. So I had to get up and get a drink of water. And then I'm like, now my mouth is too wet. So that's not good. And then now I can't sleep because now I have to go to the bathroom. So then I had that circle sighted all over again where does my tongue go and so now I hope you guys all think about that when you're trying to sleep. Think about where your tongue's supposed to go, because if you put it against your bottom teeth, then you're pushing your bottom teeth out. If you put it against the top, it's not good. If you try to just like hold it there, then it hurts my neck because it makes me think about not relaxing my neck when I can't do it. So basically, where the fuck does your tongue go when you're supposed to sleep?
Okay, well, that was a little bit insane. Where does your tongue go?
Yeah.
What does the fox say?
Ring ding 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 ding. Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
Something, but yeah.
Where does the tongue go?
Mm-hmm. Where are you supposed to put your tongue when you sleep?
Get a t-shirt made.
Yeah, I feel like this is a question to like ask the drones over New Jersey. Like they should be able to tell us and like spell it out in the sky. Where does your tongue go?
Mm-hmm.
Where doth my tongue belong?
Try to sleep tonight. See where your tongue goes.
I feel like I'm not going to
Yeah.
have a problem. I feel like it's just going to happen for me.
I feel like I'm going to be up all night long wondering where my tongue is.
Yeah. You do forget some stuff. You're like, how is it that I never think about this? But now I'm thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
The brain. So amazing. So amazing. Nice job, Swan.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll be calling your doctor.
I just saw them today, and they didn't know the answer.
They didn't know the answer to where your tongue goes?
They thought I was thinking way too much about that. Yeah.
Do you care to share what you're talking about?
No, I just made
You
that
don't care
up.
to
I
share?
made that part up.
Oh, so you didn't talk to your doctor?
No, I mean I did talk to my doctor today, but not about where my tongue goes.
You didn't ask them where your tongue goes?
No, I
Sounds like
didn't.
something I would ask the doctor.
Maybe I'll bring that up next week at my therapy appointment. See what my therapist has to say.
Yeah, I feel like you should mess with your therapist.
I should. He's such a nice guy.
I mean, make them earn their money.
Yeah.
I mean, I think my therapist is pretty good. Like, if I asked him, I'm sure he'd tell me where my tongue is supposed to go.
I think the more you think about where your tongue is supposed to go is probably the wrong answer. I think you're supposed to deflect and not think about where your tongue is supposed to go.
You know what bothers me? Is that I feel like my teeth are just constantly shifting. That's what bothers me.
Well, I'm sure they probably are. That is a normal thing. Like on a little bit of millimeters or, whatever smaller than a millimeter per day. I'm sure they do.
Yeah, but I was looking at my one tooth. I guess it would be a molar. My first molar?
The one behind your fangs?
Behind my fangs. That's a tricuspid or a bicuspid.
Okay. Well, isn't that considered a molar still? I don't know. Anyway.
I thought it was bicuspid, tricuspid, molar.
I don't know. I'm not a dentist.
I'm not a dentist either.
Okay. Anyway, your first.
I'm anti-dentist.
Okay. Your first molar.
I'm surrounded by anti-dentites.
Yeah, exactly.
Anti-dentites.
I'm offended as a comedian.
Not anti-dentites.
No, I was looking at it, and you know how you're supposed to have this nice straight line, of your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to, but when I look at it, that molar looks like it has slightly moved to the inside. So now it has disrupted that perfect line that I had. So I had straight teeth, but now as I'm getting older, my teeth are not getting straight anymore, being straight.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible. I don't
so-
want to get braces at 50.
Yeah.
I just don't.
For geriatric snaggletooth.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Geriatric
I don't want that. And that's why we floss, why we do those things. Because if you don't floss, then what that term meaning you're long in the tooth means.
It means you have plaque growing on your teeth?
No.
No?
That long in the tooth means when you start to see the actual roots of old people's teeth back in the day, it's because they didn't floss. So your gums recess, and that's why they called it being long in the tooth, but they just equated that with being old. So if you don't floss and take good care of your gums, you will actually get that receding of your gum line. That's why when you go to see the dentist, they say how many, or they're like basically estimating how many millimeters your gum line is.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating.
Yes.
So you don't want to be long in the tooth.
Gnarly.
Because that means
Gnarly.
means you have
No.
terrible dental health.
Oh.
So I feel like my teeth are shifting constantly.
Well, you should probably talk to your dentist about that, and maybe you should try putting your tongue against your tooth when you sleep tonight.
I
and
do
see
that.
if that helps.
I do that to try to see if it will push my teeth back into alignment.
Right? See?
So when you were talking about that, I was like, well, I know where my tooth goes. It's constantly pushing on my teeth to get them to be straight.
Ah.
I have this one in the front on my lower set that one is set slightly in front of the other one. So the ridge of the one that's behind is always, I can always feel it with my tongue. So I'm always constantly pushing against it. Like, come on.
I have that on my
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh. So you're just like always doing tongue calisthenics at some point in time.
I am. Yes. Yeah.
Sounds kinky.
Yeah. My tongue is always working out.
Always working.
Yeah. My tongue has probably better musculature than my biceps because it's always just doing those mouth squats.
You're a very lucky woman, Swan.
She's like
something like that.
She's like, am I? Am I?
Maybe that helps with like the not having a double chin too.
You know, I was telling
Tongue
somebody
exercises?
the other day, it is supposed to. Remember?
Yeah.
You're supposed to do these exercises that was in your grandma's thing
Yeah.
to get rid of that. What was it? It was pushing, I think it was to push your tongue up against the roof of your mouth, wasn't it?
I don't know. We'd have to find that again, but I think so.
Emmy's she's a pinup person. Probably she's heard of this super awesome trick of how to get rid of the double chin.
Actually, interestingly enough, not for a double chin, but just for good portraits and stuff. When you smile, you're actually supposed to smile with with your tongue essentially just glued, plastered to the roof of your mouth, and it does make a difference when you smile with just and then smile with your like jammed up all the way to the top of your mouth, and it will actually change the profile of your jawline. It gives you more of almost
a cheeky look. Like a higher cheek.
Yeah, it gives you a cheekier look, and it's a little modeling thing. You do that in the same time that you do like the Tyra Banks smize thing. That you get this very heroin, just very intense kind of hollowed out look. You plaster that tongue up against, because I found out with going modeling later in life how very technical modeling is. Like most of my very pretty images, I am in the most bizarre, screwed up posturing, uncomfortable body positions, angles possible, and then I look at the photo and I'm like, oh wow, okay, it looks like I'm laying down on flowers and I'm really standing up, plastered against a wall, back arched, things like that, just because of perception. And it's completely, there is an art form to modeling where people are like, oh, you just stand. No, it's actually really technical. I was very shocked, and I'm still learning all the time. Just even my headshot was so difficult. My headshot, I ended up having to bend at my waist, twist, and flip my hair. Like we had to do it like 16 times and take breaks just so we could get a particular look to where it looked like I'm like relaxed in a portrait. And that's how you get that image. Because it's like I was going for a kind of Rita Hayworth inspired image, and the photographer's like, oh, you want that look? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, all right, get ready to bend. I'm like, bend? It's a portrait. She goes, oh no, that starts at your waist. She goes, yeah, that starts at your waist. You're going to bend at your waist, flip your hair back, and we're going to get all in one movement. And that, when you come up, that's that shot. She goes, but that shot starts about 4 snaps before we get that image.
Crazy.
And she wasn't joking. I honestly thought I was going to pass out a few times just trying to get what looks like my portrait shot for what's my current Facebook picture for Emmy. It's crazy. I just thought modeling was mostly editing and lighting and such. It's not. It's a lot of angle work too, which was fascinating to me.
So that makes me ask this question of, so you think those people that do those gym selfies take 50,000? Oh yeah, they do. Like I've spent more time taking my selfie post about my workout than my actual workout. But whole nother topic.
And I hardly ever post selfies because I know most of it is angle and stuff. It's like if I post a good selfie, that's a good one-off, because I'm very fortunate where I have professional photography, professional lighting, There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
It's very precise. I tell people get a good photographer because there's a world of difference. There really is. And people are like, oh, it's editing, it's post. It's not even that. It's actually just sometimes the lighting is the issue. I mean, I think all of us have walked outside a golden hour, and all of us have walked inside of our bathroom and been like, how are we the same person? Oh, we're
Right.
hideous. It's just that little bit of something. It's like just the lighting's just not right. Sometimes you can look like $1,000,000, but you know, if you're under fluorescent lighting, you're gonna look like a corpse, no matter what you do.
I feel like I look up like a potato in my selfies.
If I'm taking them, I do too. That's the way I feel. I feel the exact same way.
Actually, if you actually went and did a photo, that's probably what you need. You probably actually need to do a photo shoot so that you stop smiling creepy, so they could actually tell you how to smile naturally.
Yeah. My posed smile is like
Terrifying.
definitely creepy. Like my eyes do
Terrifying.
these creepy things. I'm like,
Horrifying. Horrifying.
It's bad.
Yeah, it's interesting. And also when you get just a professional photographer, especially one that does a lot of portrait work, how they can just, where they angle themselves, how it will make your face look completely different, angular and so forth. I find all that stuff fascinating because people will say mean things to you, especially if you do any form of modeling, like, oh, well, you don't look like your pictures all the time. Well, the only person I know of that was in glam 24/7 was Tammy Faye Baker, rest her soul. So and it's like, I'm not going for Tammy Faye. I mean, love her. She's got her own musical on Broadway right now, but that she's not my life goals. And I think, you know, ever since like, you know, from Gigi Hadid to, you know, Marilyn Monroe, I think everyone realizes we don't look the same in and out of makeup. Everyone looks a little different. So I just tell people, do it, embrace it. If you've ever wanted to go and get professional photos done, do it. If nothing else, the self-esteem that you get is like, oh, wow, there's nothing wrong with my smile or something. It's just someone that does it every day. Is like, okay, relax here, or plaster your tongue up against your roof of your mouth, or, you know, turn at the waist at the same time we snap the photo. You're going to be in motion, but the image makes it look like you're pleasantly relaxed and sitting in a chair. And then it's just the art and the illusion of photography. There's so much of it that's not even filters and editing. It's just the photographer behind the camera and the lens knows which height that they should be at, which camera angle they should be at, and they catch you at the right moment. And I think that's just so empowering, especially as someone that was bullied and everything. We're in such a very image-driven media to where if you have someone that just knows what they're doing, that can make you just look your best and feel your best, that's so empowering.
Yeah.
Just to see yourself in a way that you maybe hasn't viewed yourself. You know, the whole like I love Boho Surfers, that lyric, you never know just how you look through someone else's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
As when you go through and see a photographer and then they get to take your best features and show them to you, you really are getting to see how you look through someone else's eyes. That's very powerful.
Yeah. Those are some of the fun videos that you'll see on like, I think it's like Instagram and stuff, where the people who are really good at taking pictures stop people on the street and take really good pictures of them. It's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think I should get professional ones done, because if I get professional ones done, I really feel like I could book some gigs as in the medical handouts for people who like, you know, post-stroke or post-Bell's palsy.
You're dumb.
I'm like, note the droop of the right eyelid, you know, or I could book the M&Ms, the almond M&M spokesperson, when if I turn my head in side profile because it looks like an almond M&M.
Yeah, you probably could. Mm-hmm.
Right before this image, he said, I think I smell burnt toast.
Smile.
This
I am
is the
smiling.
image.
I
I am smiling.
Do you have a match, or am I having a stroke?
Swan, you should go to a professional photographer.
I should. I've never had my makeup and hair like professionally done. I think that would be kind of fun. So, yeah.
Do it. I think everyone should do it. Do it. It's fun. It is fun. And if nothing else, I'm so ghastly pale. I like it because I can literally see someone essentially like draw on a face on top of me. Because I'm like, hey, I look like the color of a canvas. You can just kind of go nuts. Well, you're the color of a whiteboard.
I want to do a professional photo shoot, but I want to do it with my lightsaber and my swords because I think that would be awesome. I just want like totally off the wall fantasy type. Just
I know
ridiculous.
photographers that can do that.
Just ridiculous
Laura Dark
pictures.
can do that.
Like
Yeah.
those CGI'd ones where you're like fighting something.
Oh, that would be even cooler. But no, I just meant
No,
just in
with
general.
that.
Like,
So like,
no, I think it would be
those
cool.
weird
Like if,
senior pictures where you're like with your saxophone.
no, I want like pictures with like my sword, but like at night, where like the rain is coming down and the flashes of lightning behind me, you know, stuff like that. I think that would be cool.
Ah,
Yeah,
So,
just completely
that's very
ridiculous.
in
doable.
real life.
That's cosplay modeling.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Goals. I gotta have goals in life.
Goals.
Goals. So now you're off to LA tomorrow. Is that right?
Yes, tomorrow I fly out to LA. I'm playing at the Comedy Chateau Saturday night, and Jimmy Brogan and James Stewart are on the lineup. Then, of course, with the Chateau, the great thing, I was just there for the New Year's Eve party, and I'm a huge Seinfeld fan. Like, I can quote most of the episodes. Actually got to share the stage with Jan Karam from Seinfeld.
All
She
right.
popped in and asked if she could go and do a set with Felix, and he was like, well, of course. So that's what's so great about like playing LA and New York. Earlier this year I was in New York and just a regular night. Adam Conover from Adam Ruins Everything.
Ah.
He comes in and was like, hey guys, can I get some most polite can be here? He's the biggest comic in the room by far. This is just an odd, just random Thursday night that we're at Rodney's Comedy Club in New York. He comes in, most gracious, waits his time, doesn't want to bump any of us, all of us nobodies. And he's like, no, I don't want to bump anyone. Gracious can be, gets up there, absolutely kills, and then makes all kinds of apologies because he wants to go. He was getting ready to do a tour. So he was just trying to get like 3 reps in every night while he was in town.
Yeah.
And he lives in LA. He was like, well, guys, I got to go. I've got another place to be. But that's so nice when you see, because it's like sometimes you get in your local scene and the people have these big egos and stuff like that and act like, you know, you should be grateful if they give you 2 minutes at an open mic. Here, Adam Conover, a star, walks into Rodney's Comedy Club and as gracious as can be to us and is like, do you guys care if I get some time? And that was so heartwarming to see. And we're just like, are you kidding us? Like, we'll
Yeah.
trample over each other to give you the mic. What are you talking about, man?
Exactly. Yeah, because you
We
want
wanna
to see
you
that.
perform.
Yeah, you want to see that.
Right.
Like,
You want to see that. And he was masterful. I mean, he gets up, he's like, all right, guys. It's like you get to see a master. Literally, he's working on his tour stuff. He's up there with a notebook where he would never let the general public see. He would never, of course, this is, you know, a show he's not on, so he didn't charge anybody. No one knows that they're going to go get to see Adam Conover. It's just a bonus. So he's just rapping. It's just what's off the top of his head, half thoughts and ideas. It was so good. And just to think that on a random night, you just get to see that.
Yeah.
I that's one of the things I love about, I'm still a big fan of it, just to be able to go and see some of the people that you love just randomly pop in and to know that there isn't any ego there, that they really do care and they understand that we all earned that time, that, you know, to get there to be New York was a big deal for us, even though for him, no big deal. He's got 2 more to do that night and everybody will, you know, clear the stage as soon as they see him. But the fact he didn't act like that, the fact that he knew for us, well, that's a big deal. And hey, guys, do you care if I get up there? That was really nice.
Yeah, that is nice. Yeah, I would definitely be like, oh, no, take my spot. Like, go ahead. I just want to see you go. I don't care. Go ahead.
Well, hold your microphone, my liege.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
Put my sword down. Hold the microphone. Put my sword down. There you go. All right. So what are you doing after Sunday? Because this is going to come out on Sunday, so you will already gone off to LA.
Then I will be on my way to go and see you guys at Dormouse Theater in Kalamazoo, Michigan
Ooh,
on the 24th.
that's exciting.
That's super exciting.
Super exciting.
That's super exciting. That's what I'm doing after LA. After I'm in LA, then I'm in Kalamazoo, Michigan at Dormouse Theater with Slaptail Nation on the 24th.
Excellent. Yay.
And it'll be my Michigan debut. I'm actually really excited. What
am
are
I
you doing?
What am I doing for that show? What am I doing? Am I working the
You
spotlight? What am I
are doing whatever you want to do because you're not hosting. You get to actually watch and hang out and like do I mean, you could just hang out if you want to.
I'm take pictures.
Take pictures.
Out of my
Cool.
plan.
Yeah.
Take some pictures, work the spotlight, something like that. That'd
Yeah,
be fun.
something.
Now, what is your plan when you come up? By the way, are you driving straight back, or are you coming up and you staying? What are you doing?
I'm actually flying in from LA. So I'm going to stay in LA for the week. I'm wanting to actually do some volunteer work with the wildfires
Oh, good for you. That's awesome.
while I'm out there.
What wildfires?
I'm a big bleeding heart, so I'm hoping to do some. Well, it's so surreal for us. I was out there for the New Year's Eve party, and yeah, we're Ohio State. My husband's an alumni, so we were out there for the Rose Bowl. We had a great time. And as we're parking at the Rose Bowl right now, that is a shelter and donation drop-off site. So it just feels kind of surreal to go there and do shows and then not like try to get back to the community where we were literally just parking. So I'm going to fly from LA to Kalamazoo. I actually was just finalizing the flights last night, and I'll get there. I'll get there Friday morning.
Nice.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Oh, then we'll have to have Dev do the stupid joke. She flew in from LA this morning, and are her arms tired?
Her arms tired.
Ba-dum-bum.
I'm really, really looking forward to it because where I'm still located here in Columbus and stuff, to have some place that I can just drive home to afterwards is going to be awesome. And also, I love the idea of the Dormouse Theater. I read the history and stuff on it. I love the fact that it's a converted church. I love the fact that it's Kalamazoo and not necessarily, because it's like, I think everybody thinks of like Detroit when they think of Michigan, kind of like where everybody thinks of Cleveland when they think of Ohio. Truly, people do not think of Columbus. When I tell people I'm from Ohio, I never get Columbus, I get Cleveland. People don't think, outside of Ohio, they don't think Columbus, Ohio exists. They just don't.
Because why should it? No. Why should it? No, just kidding.
Why should it?
Why should it? Well, that's exciting. I think that we're going to try to we're going to try to wrangle everybody to go get some dinner afterwards. I think that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have the husband in tow.
Yeah.
He's invited too.
Yes, he's also invited. But
yeah,
everybody else isn't.
He likes to eat.
Everybody else fuck off.
Oh.
No, just kidding. It's
There'll
comics.
just be one big party.
Comedians only. Fuck off, everybody else. No, just kidding.
Yay. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. I'm still bummed though. I'm a little bummed, Swan.
Why are you bummed?
Because I'm not in the show. But I did that intentionally.
Yeah.
It's still I'm gonna have FOMO. I'm gonna have FOMO.
You might. Maybe.
I'll like try to run up there and do a set and somebody else.
No, maybe you can just like do the pre-show introduction and that'll be enough for you. And
That'll be
you'll
enough for me.
like, yeah. Yeah.
Nah.
No, not even that. No.
I actually might introduce Dev off stage though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You could do like a pre-show introduction.
That way he doesn't have to introduce himself and I can bring him up and that would be fun. That'll be it.
And you still get microphone time and you'll feel like all better.
And I can say I was part of the show. Like,
yeah, and then you can say,
I was part of the show. Yeah, good. Okay. Exactly. All right. Well, I think that's it for me. I don't have anything coming up. Do I have anything coming up? Just regular mics. Oh, no, I'm excited because I do get to go to, River City this month. So River City Saloon in Grand Rapids, hosted by the great Carl Sobel. That'll be the 29th.
Okay.
And then on the 26th, I'm going to be in Toledo, Ohio for the pizza show that they do on Sunday nights for Dave Crumbly's stuff that he does. Cool. So that'll be fun. But other than that, I don't think I have anything else going on. Just this show. Oh, we have an open mic tonight.
But this will be over.
Very cool.
So yeah.
Yeah. So we're excited.
Yep.
Excited. All right then. Well, then that's it for me then. I'm going to say goodbye. Adios, mooch fuckos.
And from the Swan, we have a Slap Your Tail comedy open mic at the Dormouse Theater every third Thursday. So if you're a comedian and you're looking for a spot, reach out to us on any social media. And if you're not a comedian, you just want to come hang out and watch some comedy, we're there every third Thursday. And then we have, like Emmy said, our next Slap Your Tail comedy show with Adam Minnick, Emmy Buttrick, and Jen Flaxman, hosted by Devron Thomas on Friday, January 24th in Kalamazoo, Michigan at the Dormouse Theater. Bye from the Swan.
Would you like to say anything, Emmy?
Thank you so very much for having me.
You are most welcome.